Hello, welcome to our live stream. This is our Tuesday quiz. Our topic today is humor. I've got 10 questions for you that will help you to improve your English skills and your knowledge about this subject. We will learn together. Like always, a lot of these questions have to do with things I have no clue about. So we will learn together and explore the topic. And let me pop on up our first question. If you don't already follow me, English with Jen 123. Hello to you, Natalia. Welcome, sweetie. Hello, Alexandra. Nice to have you here as well. For those of you who are returning, Nick as well. Nice to have you here for the second time today. First, I was on Instagram on Iwa, and now we're here. So let me get rid of the banner. And let's get into our first question. I have a lot of extra information today. Maybe you have things you want to add as well. I'm always very happy to hear what you have to say about these different topics and things that come up. So let's get going. Hold on, and here we go. What does the word tickling most often refer to in the context of humor? Hello, Anna, sweetie. A, telling a joke. B, lightly touching someone in a way that causes laughter. C, playing a prank, sorry, playing a prank, not paying one. You can pay someone to prank someone. D, watching a funny video. So tickling, what does this mean? Ciao, Alessio, welcome back as well. So what can you tell me? Telling a joke, lightly touching someone, hello Lorena dear, playing a prank, and watching a funny video. Which one of these makes the most sense for the word tickling? B, okay. Alessia's going with B for tickling. Any other guesses? Hello to you, Nadira. Ooh, that's a pretty name. Nadir. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, or maybe I'm just not even reading it right. Nadir. Tickling sounds like something lightly. So B. Okay, Alexandra, good guess, dear. So yeah, absolutely. So it's obviously the answer is B. So we have another one of my fun little connection problems today. So basically that is when someone touches you and they kind of go like this. I hate being tickled. I don't do it to other people because I hate it so much for myself. It's like, for me, it's not fun. It's like this laughing on the outside, but not on the inside. So tickling is not something I like. Let me know, do you like to be tickled or you don't care? Hello, Juan Carlos, nice to have you too. So do you like to be tickled, not like to be tickled? You can try that with, just sharing your information. So tickling and laughter, though, they have similar pathways to the brain. So Natalia, you don't either. So they have similar pathways to the brain, and that's why it produces this ha-ha feeling, even though you don't feel ha-ha. And people are mostly ticklish on their ribs, on their rib cage, or on their armpits, or on the sides of their feet, or the soles of their feet. So on the bottom part of your foot, this is your sole, not S-O-U-L-E, but S-O-L-E. They are homophones. They sound the same, but they don't mean the same. So the sole of your foot, and I will plop that up. And another kind of cool thing is you cannot tickle yourself. Someone else has to do it, because when you try to tickle yourself, your brain predicts the sensation. And so therefore you don't really feel it. I love tickling my youngest daughter. Okay. Does she love it though, Lorena? Does she? Yeah, she probably does. All right. So then let's move on to number 2. And we are headed to the United States. And long ago. And so I think these topics are sometimes very interesting because I just thought this was kind of, I don't know, cool. I wanted to know, so I Googled it and found it out. So when somebody doesn't like to be tickled, I usually have the giggles. Okay. My husband prefers to tickle small children. I forbid him to do it. Okay, don't do that. Yeah, leave the kids alone. All right, so here we go. Benjamin Franklin's famous political, she loves it and laughs a lot. Okay, I stand corrected. Benjamin Franklin's famous political cartoons. So cartoons are typically something that are funny. You have them in the newspapers. Sometimes you can have comics, cartoons, comic strips, like Mickey Mouse. I don't know if it started out as that, but there are a lot of famous different cartoons like Garfield. I think a lot of people know the cat Garfield. So Benjamin Franklin's famous political cartoon, so where you put political humor into something, Join or Die, is considered the oldest political cartoon. What threat did it urge the American colonies to unite against? Was it A, British taxation policies? So we have like before the Boston Tea Party. B, slave owners. C, the French and their Native American allies. Or D, Spanish explorers. So this cartoon, I can show it to you. I thought it was kind of cool. I was curious to see like what was the first cartoon, and this was the one that popped up as the first political cartoon that kind of became famous. This is what it looked like. While you're guessing, guess 8. Hello, Abu Fazil. Hello, dear. Welcome back. So this is the original political cartoon that Benjamin Franklin drew, and it's a snake that is divided into, I think it's 9 sections, and each section represents one of the states. So you have New York, you have Pennsylvania, you have Virginia, and it's so, which one do you think? So far I have a B from Renit, and what else do we have as a possible answer for this political cartoon? Why do you think that Benjamin Franklin came up with it? All right, nobody's guessing. Nobody knows. All right, so Leslie, thank you. You guessed A, British taxation policies. I hear you. And yeah, Juan Carlos is saying A as well. Natalia's going with B. So far we have only A's and B's as answers. But actually the answer is C, the French and their Native American allies. So the snake, good guess, Gracie, and welcome. So we have the snake that is segmented, so it has different parts of it, different segments, and each segment was labeled one of the colonies in America at the time, and the message was that the colonies should unite, otherwise they will face destruction. And it was to encourage the colonies to unite against the French and the Native Americans during the 7 Years' War in 1754. It was later used again, which makes more sense for A, that it was later used during the American Revolution to try to inspire everyone to come together against the British ruling system. And so it was one of the earliest and most influential political cartoons in American history. And yeah, and so I thought that was kind of fun to have a political cartoon, which was the first. So moving on to the word humor itself and where it came from. And for my friends with Latin-based languages, I'm curious if this is still how you use this as well. So let's see. Humor. Okay, so in medieval medicine, the word humor originally referred to what? Was it A, mood or temperature, B, types of body fluids, so the liquids, like water is a fluid. Was it C, aches and pains, or D, the star signs, like Cancer, Leo, must be united, otherwise they will be eaten by the other Thai proverb, maybe? I'm not sure. Okay, so Gracie's going with D. Renee's got a B for me. Lorena's got a B for me. Let's see if this C or B. Natalia's not quite sure. Hedging her bets here. Okay, Alessia's going with B. So the answer is B, types of body fluids. The word humor comes from Latin humor, maybe, meaning fluid or moisture. In medieval and ancient medicine, it referred to 4 bodily fluids or humors: blood, so blood; phlegm, which is like when you cough and something comes out, usually green. If you're sick, that's phlegm; black bile and yellow bile. And as far as I know, bile is like in the intestine, so I don't really get how that works, but okay. Physicians believe that a person's health and their temperament depended on the balance of these 4 bodily fluids. So if you had too much black bile, that was melancholy, and too much blood, then that was you were too cheerful. You were cheerful. You were cheerful. That was your temperament. So the way that you behaved was often based on these humors, and I thought that was kind of fun. All right, and yeah, and so then the evolution of it became, by the 16th and 17th centuries, humor began to just describe a person's personality. So he's of merry humor, meaning that he is a very cheerful person. And by the 18th century, humor became to just mean that something's funny. So since then, since 17 whatever, then we say that it's more about just so that something's funny and less about a mood or temperament. Also, humor has been used in psychology, like one of the defense mechanisms. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes. I didn't know that. Thank you for teaching me that. And the vesicula. I don't know what that is, Gracie. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. So in English, we say that we have a funny bone. So let's take a look, and you can help me try to find where the funny bone is. And let's see, we need slide number 4, and here we go. The funny bone. So where is the funny bone located in the human body? Is it the elbow? Is it the knee, the shoulder, or the wrist? Hello, Miranda, dear. So what can you tell me? Where is the funny bone located? Bilis is a vesicular humor. I have no idea. I have no idea, sweetie. Okay, so Renee's going with A. All right, so the elbow. And what else can you tell me? Anybody else think the same thing as Renee? Gracie is saying A. B from Abu Fazl. All right, what else have we got? Any other guesses? Alessia's going with B, and the knee, the funny bone. I have no idea, from Natalia. All right, Lorena's saying A, and let's get maybe one more guess if we can. And Juan Carlos, A. Okay, so for those of you who guessed A, you are correct, okay? And the funny bone is like when you hit your elbow, and you know you have that pain, but it's not like a normal pain. It kind of like, it sort of crawls into your stomach and kind of hurts in like a really weird way. Like it almost feels kind of funny. So we call that like, I hit my funny bone. And it's not really the actual bone, it's the ulnar nerve. I'll write that in case anybody wants to look at it once and never think of it again. Ulnar nerve. I've never heard of it. Oops, I think I misspelled that. Ulnar. U-L-N-A-R. Ulnar nerve, not nerver. Nerve. It's really not funny, right? It's not funny at all. Electricity, somehow like that. So this, you don't really hit the bone when you hit your elbow, you hit this nerve. And when you hit it, you feel this like tingling electric sensation. Thank you, Gracie. Down your arm and in your fingers. It's like horrible, horrible feeling. And the name comes from the nerve location near the humerus and the strange feeling, funny feeling it causes. Do you call that when you hit your bone, like you hit your funny bone? Do you say that? It's good luck. Really, Gracie. Like when the heat of when you hit your toe, for example, for me, it is really a pain, not humor at all. Exactly. I feel the same way. But it's about this nerve that kind of is in this area near something that's called humerus. So I think that's why they call it that, the funny bone. Now we're moving over to stand-up comedy. Okay. Does anybody like to go to stand-up comedy shows? Have you ever seen a stand-up comic? So a comic on stage and they deliver sort of different a routine and they're on their own. And has anybody ever seen a stand-up comic? Because we are going to find out where this was invented, actually. So when we travel, if we go to an English-speaking country, then we always go to a comedy show because it's so amazing to, no, never, okay. Because you get such a great, yes, many times, because you get a lot you get a very good feeling for what's going on in that particular city. So when we're in London, we always go to a comedy show and they talk about all kinds of local things that are going on. So you get a real cool perspective. Same thing when we were in San Francisco, when we're in New York, whenever we travel to some place where they have an English speaking comedy routine or comedy club, that is, then we always go because it's a great way to learn about a culture. Only on TV or YouTube. I did, but I didn't like it. Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss. You know, sometimes you go to these things and it's not funny at all, and maybe some acts are funny and some aren't. Just on videos. Okay, so let's see. Where does modern stand-up comedy have its roots? So like the thing that grows underground, where does it come from? Is it A, ancient Greece, B, France during the Renaissance, C, England in medieval fairs, or D, the United States? Where do you think that this idea of a person standing on stage with a microphone or speaking very loudly, if we're in ancient Greece, then standing up and having this monologue and then leaving, trying to get some laughs and then leaving. So where do we have? So we have some A's, we have C. What other guesses might we have? And this is just for fun, so just guess away. Juan Carlos says C as well. A or C, just guessing, no stress. It's all fun and games here. There's no right or, well, there is a right or wrong answer, but it's just for fun. Okay, so the answer is actually D, the United States, believe it or not. So modern stand-up comedy, as we know it today, originated in the 19th century. So 1860, 1870, sometime around then. During vaudeville theaters, they would have these theaters that would put on different performances, and the solo performers delivered short, humorous monologues or routines directly to the audience. They called it stand-up because the comedians stood alone on a stage addressing the audience. And so this is something that was founded in the United States and has continued on to today. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I would have thought this is much, much older. So all of you who guessed A, ancient Greece, I totally would have guessed that too. So, all right, we are now heading on to laughter. Yeah, just laughter in general. And so this is kind of like an old one of our quizzes that we've had a million times where I just find some interesting information and we sort of live and learn together and share it. And I like these kinds of quizzes too. I like learning these things. So the past can be very rude to people. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you never want to sit in the front row if you go to one of these stand-up comedy places. All right, so we have some scientists believe humans laughed before they developed language. So they have this concept that we laughed before we were able to speak in our evolution. Which of the following supports this idea? Is it A, babies as young as 17 days old have been observed laughing? B, children born blind, so blind and deaf, you can't see, you cannot hear, still laugh. C, laughter helps humans relate to one another before speech. Or D, potentially all of the above. Alexander's going with D. What else do we have? What do you think? And it's just a guess, right? We don't really It doesn't matter. You can get it wrong. It's not a problem. I didn't know any of this information. And next week, if you asked me this, I wouldn't be able to answer it. So it's not about getting it right. So D, Renee, all of the above. Any other guesses? F, Miranda. What is your guess then? C, D, D. Okay, typo. All right, so the answer is actually, it really is D, is all of the above. Where, like, if you've been around a baby, like, they laugh very early. They can't speak, but they can actually laugh. And I guess that children that are born blind and deaf, they still laugh. And they think that laughing was one of the ways that early humans, don't stress, Miranda, that laughter was one of the early ways that humans were able to communicate with each other. So before we could use our vocal cords to speak out words, we laughed, and that helped us to be able to, like, I guess I'm like, there's food over there, something like that. I don't know. Yes. Okay. Maybe not. All right. Now we're heading on to comedians. Okay. The people who deliver the stand-up comedy, and we're going to find out something about them. Moving on to number 7, and here we go. And boop, there we go. Research suggests that comedians often have what compared to the general population? And in this case, the general population, meaning like the average person. So is it A, higher intelligence scores on average? B, longer attention spans? C, more emotional awareness? Or D, better social skills? Hello, Mohammed, welcome. And you're guessing D? So, and I guess also Juan Carlos, I think that's a D2 for this one as well, I guess. Alexander's going with C. Let's get some other guesses then. And then we will see. And if you don't mind, if I could get all 19 of you to like this video right now, that would be so amazing, because it shows YouTube that this is actually a place where people can learn and enjoy something, and that it's not just so. All right. C or D, A, D, maybe all are necessary to have humor. Good point. Very good point. Not what I'm looking for, but actually, research has suggested or shows that comedians have higher intelligence scores on average. So A. And I guess, like, with better social skills, I'm not so sure. Hey, Gloria, welcome on board. Some comedians are not the nicest people, right? So maybe not better, not C necessarily, not D. I'm not sure. Yes, you read about that as well. Okay, Miranda. Yeah. And I guess, like, the intelligence part, that makes sense, because as a comedian, you take information that all of us sees every day. We just see something and then we don't process it. We just process it like, okay. And then they take it and they can twist it and make it something new. And so I think that takes a certain type of intelligence. So I think A actually makes a lot of sense. C, because I think the sense of humor gets along with high emotional intelligence. Maybe like probably having part of that in there. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so moving on to people making mistakes and that kind of thing. So let's see. And Gracie, you talked about this earlier. So let's see. We need number 8. Yes, I just said that. And here we go. All right. A person who can laugh at their own mistakes is showing A, optimism, B, emotional intelligence, C, adaptability, or D, it is very difficult. Oh wait, what I saw on YouTube, they really roast people. Yeah, in the States, you don't want to sit in the front row. If you go to like whatever you do, unless you have very thick skin, we say as a nice little idiomatic expression. If people can say things to you and you don't care, then you have thick skin. If you have thick skin, sit in the front row. If you have thin skin, don't sit in the front row. If you have thick skin, you are not easily offended. If you have thin skin, you are very easily offended. Okay, so we have our answers coming in. We have a C, we have a B, we have several C's. Gracie. Oh, what is this? Esa frase vina del Martín Fierro, de José Hernández, una tradición. Brothers should be united, for if they fight among themselves, outsiders devour them. I don't know that. Brothers should be united. Is this in combination with Benjamin Franklin, maybe? Okay, so Miranda, no, I don't have it. I guess you don't have thick skin. I don't really have thick skin either. But every year I have to say the older I get, the less I care. So I sort of by default kind of get thick skin. So when people say like mean things in a live stream, I'm like, really? Screw you, whereas before I probably would have thought about it forever, and now I'm like, it's your problem. I don't care. Okay, Gracie, thank you. Yes, I thought so. Thank you for posting that. And so, yeah, so a person, there we go. And thank you for your answer. D, confidence. So the thing that I'm looking for here is actually with very confusing quiz. I think some not as an answer. Can think some not as an answer. Can think some as an answer. I'm not sure. Sorry, Miranda. All right. So the answer that I'm looking for here, a person who can laugh at their own mistakes, is showing emotional intelligence, like overall understanding that usually when people when people are unkind to us, or if we do something silly, it's less of a reflection on us than it is just kind of gallbladder humor or fluid. That's the bile, I think. Goodness, it's ringy-dingy here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so emotional intelligence, there is a degree of confidence, of course, adaptability and optimism for sure, but I was looking for emotional intelligence with this one. Now we're moving on to animals. I meant like B or C could be answers. Yeah, definitely. Miranda, sometimes with these quizzes, there are things that it can kind of go in lots of different directions for sure. Sometimes there's not a solid right or a solid wrong answer. So moving on to number 9, to animals. And let's see what I've got for you. Here we go. Boop. So which of the following animals has been observed to laugh when playing? So not with us, with each other. So similar to humans. So when these animals are together and they're playing, they laugh. Like it's kind of very similar to the way that humans do when we play with each other. So A, rats, B, chimpanzees, C, dogs, or D, all of the above. What do you think? I forgot to highlight the answer. I think, yeah. Okay. I forgot to highlight the answer. So now, see, I told you, I don't really know any of this stuff either. And I forget it right away. It's just for fun. It's for me to learn once and then forget. All right, so let's see. No, my microphone's so far away. Sorry about that. So B, chimpanzees are like us exactly. So the answer, Ranit, I think that you are correct that that it's actually like all of these animals, but I have a little bit more information about rats. Rats that play and prefer to also be around other rats. I can't imagine rats and how they're smiling, right? Like laughing rats. We need to find a YouTube video with laughing rats. That's creepy somehow. But yes, evidently all the above kind of laugh. Yeah, a lot of mammals seem to have this behavior. So I think that it's actually D, all of the above. But you know what? I'm going to put it in ChatGPT really quickly and see if it's going to give me the answer because I forgot to highlight it. But I do think that it's all. So we have the light changing here again. Today it's like sunny. It's not sunny. So anyway, I get things changed around here. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see what animals. Yeah. Okay. Well, the rats, chimpanzees, and dogs also display some sort of laughing like quality. Hold on, I'll turn a little light here. Okay, there we go. Yes, so it's all of the above, but in particular, really, really rats. I've never seen dogs laughing. We saw wild dogs and they do this little sound that sounds like laughing. They do this sort of chirping sound and they greet each other in the cutest way. Oh, it's so precious. So wild dogs, I think I see it more. Yeah, they're just more natural, I guess. I don't know. So definitely with wild dogs. Okay, heading on to our last question of the day. And this is kind of, because I was curious, like what is the oldest joke that we have on record? When was it? What was it? Who made it? And so the oldest joke that we have on record, and here we go. What is considered the oldest recorded joke in the world, dating back to ancient Sumer around, wait, hold on, I'm see if I'm, Sumer around 1900 BCE. Excuse me. In BCE, just so that everybody's on the same page here, BCE is before the Common Era. We used to see in English BC, which was before Christ, but a lot of different scientific studies in the community, it's multi-religious, and so saying before Christ was a little too specific. So before the Common Era makes it more secular, more open to everyone. So now we say BCE or C, but it still means before Christ. So I don't know. All right. Okay, so we have a lot of B's coming in. B, 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 and Miranda saying C. So the answer is actually, believe it or not, a joke about a fart. So here we go. I'm going to read to you this joke about a fart. It doesn't translate very well, but yeah, here we have it. So Sumer is an ancient civilization in southern Mesopotamia, which is modern day Iraq. One of the first known civilizations in human history. So 1900 BCE-ish. And here is the Sumerian proverb, something which has never occurred since time immemorial. A young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. So, yes, it's literally a fart joke, showing that humor and about bodily functions has been around for thousands of years. I mean, how many jokes are there about, sex, the body, bodily functions, social awkwardness? So, this seems to be something that's very common for us humans to find humor in, and the Sumerians were not any different. So, I thought that was kind of funny. That even back then, yeah, people were joking about farts. So, all right, folks, thank you so very much for joining me. The majority of you for now, since you've been around hanging out with me for over 2 hours now. Thank you very much for coming and for joining me over here. I hope that you had fun. You learned something. Maybe it's like me, you learn it for 10 minutes and then it's gone. No matter. We're practicing English. We're having a community together, celebrating that and enjoying that. I once read that there was a scam about selling the Eiffel Tower. To me, that could have been a joke. Yeah, that would be so funny if somebody bought that. That would be sad. It was amazing. Thank you, Alexandra. Toilet humor is very ancient. It seems to be toilet humor, potty talk. You're welcome, Nick. I hope to see you all tomorrow. I have the second half of this lesson already planned. I'm nearly done with the slides. So we will have a wonderful, wonderful lesson tomorrow at 3 p.m., so 2 hours earlier than now. Thanks to all of you lovely souls for coming and hanging out with me and for participating so nicely. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.